everybody, Sarah here. So today we are going to be doing the long-awaited morph prices videos. I'm actually going to be doing 3 of these over the next few weeks, and I'm going to start with the single mutations and the normals and things like Miami that don't actually have a mutation. Really quick though, I want to thank all of our members on this channel. You guys make this channel possible. You guys make it what it is. If anybody else would like to become a channel member, you can click join under any video. It's $2 a month right now. There's only one tier, but early next year sometime I'm going to be adding an additional tier that's $5 a month. Right now, anybody who does the $2 a month tier gets an exclusive members only video every single week, as well as access to live videos after those are over. The $5 tier is hopefully also going to get access to a Discord channel. I play a lot of video games. I'm on Discord a lot, so you guys could get on and chat with me if you would like. So again, thank you members for being members. The next tier is going to have a name. So right now for the lowest tier, we have the neonates, which is basically what we call newly hatched baby snakes. So if you guys have any suggestions for what the next tier up should be, I would love to hear it. Maybe something like the yearlings or something like that. Something that you guys think is sort of clever and maybe more exclusive to terms that we use in reptiles. That would be awesome. I also want to thank Reptilinks for helping to support this channel as well. You guys can use my code SarahSnake27 at reptilinks.com checkout, and you will get $5 off, and I also get $5 back from that. You guys get snake food that is really good for your snakes, and I get a little extra money to help feed my snakes as well. Also remember, I have a website, sarahsnakeshop.com. I am going to continue the 10% off through the end of the year. I originally was going to end it about the same day that this video was coming out, but I decided to just go ahead and put it through the end of the year so that you guys can continue to get those discounts on merch and stuff. Please remember though that I am no longer able to ship snakes for the rest of this winter season. Once it warms up a little bit, we will be able to ship snakes though. So if you see a snake that you like and you do want to buy it, that snake will be held for you, no extra charge all winter, and you will still get that discount. And I don't, like I said, I don't charge extra for holding over the winter if there are no shipping days left, which there are none by the time this video comes out. So again, if you would like to get that 10% off, maybe post-Christmas, if anybody gets some extra Christmas money, but you wanted a snake, you can order a snake and then you will have it delivered to you in the spring. All right, let's jump into morph prices for this year versus last year. I compiled a lot of data for a lot of different morphs. I was not able to get a lot of comparison data for certain morphs, especially from last year versus this year. It's like there were some morphs that there were a lot of selling last year and not so much this year, so trying to get pricing data over the course of the year was very difficult. I did do it a little bit differently this year than I did last year though. Last year I just sat down, made a list of what I saw. I would average 3 different prices for a snake and then just tell you guys what that was. But I did it all in one sitting. I just sat down and I did it, and I actually ended up recording that information back around the time that Tinley was happening last year, and a lot of people had snakes on sale or lower priced because of Tinley at that point in time. So this year I decided to compile data for months. I started late spring, early summer compiling this data, and then recorded it every other month or so throughout the year so that I could get a better idea of what the actual average price was for these morphs. It's obviously not going to cover every single morph, but if you guys have a morph that I don't cover in any of these videos, comment down below and I can do some research on specific morphs that you guys are interested in, and I will add those into the final video of this series this year. I want to start out by saying that there was definitely a lot of decrease and not a lot of increase, and I did a lot of calculating percentages, so I'm going to go over that part first. Of all of the morphs that I looked at, only about 11% of them had no change at all really in their average prices over the last couple of years. 61% of them though had a decrease in price, and then 28% of them had an increase in price. So we definitely see that a lot more of them had a decrease in price this year, which was kind of to be expected. Last year we had a really booming year. A lot of prices were really high for snakes, and then this year with the recession happening in the US, a lot of those prices really tanked. Keep in mind these are all baby prices and they are all US prices as well. I didn't go look at other countries specifically. I pretty much just looked at everything going on in the US. So it might be different where you live, but this is how it is, at least where I am. So in the ones that did increase in price, there was about a 12% increase in those prices. So where something may have been $100, you know, last year, the increase would have been up to about $112 this year. I averaged everything and rounded it all to the nearest $5. So obviously we're not dealing with $112 exactly, but this goes over every single morph that I did compare. And so I just kind of wanted to get these percentages out of the way so you guys would have an idea of kind of what we're looking at as far as the differences. Of the 61% of the morphs that I looked at that decreased in price, the average price decrease was about 22%. So a snake that was $100 last year would have been closer to like $78 this year, just to kind of give you guys an idea. So there was definitely, of those that increased, they increased about half as much as those that decreased, if that makes any sense. So we have a 12% increase on those that increased and a 22% decrease on those that decreased. Great for buyers, not so great for sellers, but it is what it is. That's why we're just compiling this information. Now I'm going to go through the single mutations and the like 0 mutation morphs that I have on this list. I have about 12 of them, and I'm just going to go through these, and in the next video we'll do double mutations. In the video after that we'll do any requests, and we will do sort of triple mutations, quad mutations, stuff like that. So let's start out with the average normal. The average price of a normal last year in 2021 was $75, and the average price of it this year was $85. So I was actually a little surprised by that increase. When a lot of things were decreasing, the normals actually increased in price. The Okati corn snake is the next one. Average price for last year was $150. Average price this year was $100. I did, like I said, average all these prices over the course of the year. If you would like the more particular, like specific breakdown, I think I am going to provide that breakdown to members after everything's over so that you guys can get an idea of exactly what calculations I did and how I did them to get to all of this. But just for the sake of this video and the length of it, I'm gonna try to just list them off for you guys. A typical amelanistic last year was selling for an average of $115, and this year it was selling for an average of $95. That's kind of to be expected. Again, we see that 22% decrease kind of becoming a little bit more obvious in all of this. Next one up is the anerythristic. The average for last year was 110. Average this year was 75, actually less than the average for a normal. And I think that's really interesting. I actually had a lot of trouble selling both normals and anerys this year. There was a dramatic drop in that. I think that was one of the biggest drops. That's a 32% drop. Caramel was one of those that actually stayed pretty consistent. It was $100 average both years, and so I feel like that makes sense. And diffused was the same way. 120 was the average for both years. Reverse Okati, these are in no particular order, by the way, just the order that I happen to have them in. For Reverse Okati, last year the average was $150, this year the average was $160, so we have a little bit of an increase in price there, but not by much. Lava being the next one on the list, last year they were average $160, this year they were average $130, so the price of that went down, I don't want to say dramatically, but a little bit more than some of the other ones did. Scaleless is another one that had a slight drop in price. Last year, $435 was the average. This year, $420 is the average. It's not a huge drop in price, especially when you're spending hundreds of dollars, but it is notable. Ultramel was one that I was unfortunately disappointed in the price drop of because I love Ultramels. The last year's price was $150 on average, and this year's price was $110 on average. That's another pretty dramatic drop. That's a 27% drop in that, and I didn't like that. I love Ultramels, and so when I make them, I like to be able to sell them. And this year, not such a great year for the sellers. Palmetto is the next one, and this is one that actually saw an increase in price by about 24%. Last year I had written down the average of $400. This year I saw an average of $495, so basically $500. And last year, like I said, when I made the Palmetto portion of the video, I was pricing a lot of things that were It's just sort of priced to sell, like before or maybe after or during the Tinley Reptile Expo happening in the fall, and a lot of other reptile expos that happen in the fall. So I think a lot of people had reduced their prices specifically for that, and that's why that price seemed so low. So I'm not 100% sure of the accuracy of that, and again, I'm definitely doing better on collecting the data, and I'm going to continue to collect data a little bit more rigorously from now on doing these videos. But last year being the first year, I just sat down and averaged what I had on the screen at that moment in time. So kind of take that one with a grain of salt, but it is nice to see that the average potentially went up. And last but not least on this list is the Tessera corn snake. Last year the average price was $120. This year it was $110. It is what it is. Tessera is one of those that's going to become very common very quickly, and it has become very common very quickly because it's dominant. So we see a lot of it, and the more of it there is, the less likely the price is going to stay up, and so it makes sense that it had a little bit of a price drop this year. I know that there are way more morphs out there than this, but these were the 12 sort of most common ones. Like I said, if you guys have any specific ones that you would like me to go over in the next video or in the coming videos, please let me know in the comments, because I'm more than happy to add to my list. Next week I have a few more to go over, and those are all going to be some double mutations, maybe some triple mutations. And then in the last video of the year, I'm going to go over all triple and quadruple plus mutations that I saw, the most common ones at least, plus any requests that come in between now and then. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video, and I will see you next week to go over double mutations. Have a great day.